A long time ago, in a universe very different from ours, there lived a bobbit. In a hole under a tree, he had made his home. He had many neighbors. They also lived under trees. These bobbits lived in a large forest called Bobbington. Brobo-Swaggins was the richest bobbit in Bobbington. As a result of a very dangerous and long quest he took in his youth, he had a younger nephew who lived with him named Yolo-Swaggins. Yolo had a fairly boring life, always dreaming of adventure and no one to play with because he was not part of the awkward incest family going on in the forest of Bobbington. Everybody was related in some way, shape, or form. Today was Brobo-Swaggins' 45,673,472nd birthday. He was very old and quite frail. It was here that the wizard Gargameldar found Brobo and Yolo. Yolo was supporting his uncle in his time of frailty, as they were transported to the party grounds where everybody was going to celebrate the miraculous amount of years Brobo has lived, especially since the average lifespan of a bobbit is around 67 years, 3 months, 5 hours, 23 minutes, and 41 seconds. Gargameldar rolled up in his cart, with little child bobbits running behind him yelling,
"Fireworks, Gargameldar, fireworks, please."
Gargameldar looked back, flipped off the kids, and pulled a cigarette out of his jacket, lighting it with a very elaborate fire spell which involved summoning a very large fire demon called a Glagrog, having the Glagrog punch the floor, which resulted in a large amount of sparks to fly in random directions, which were then pooled and collected into a single large spark, which would light the tip of the cigarette, and then dispelling the Glagrog using a black sacrament of dark magic. It took Gargameldar 20 minutes to light his cigarette, and by the time he was done, Yolo and Brobo had left to the party. Gargameldar quickly caught up to them and said, "Yo guys, what's up? Yolo, you look pretty good, how have you been?" Yolo looked at Gargameldar and said quietly, "Gargameldar, you're late." Suddenly the sky turned black and Gargameldar became very menacing and tall, and said in a very, very, very high-pitched chipmunk voice,
"Yolo-Swaggins, I'm never late. I arrive precisely when I'm flipping in 10. Got it?"
All the bobbits at the party were frightened by this sudden and abrupt change that Gargameldar had shown, but Brobo looked up at Gargameldar and said, "F*** this." He pulled out a very boring-looking ring and put it on, which allowed his body, but not his clothes, to disappear from view. His clothes, which appeared to be floating, began flopping away. Gargameldar grabbed a hold of the floating clothes and yanked the ring off Brobo, who began gnawing on Gargamel's hand with his stubby old man gums. "Ew, gross," Gargameldar exclaimed, before saying in a more serious tone, "There are many bland rings of power, but this one is by far the blandest. I mean, it doesn't even turn your clothes invisible. If you want to be truly invisible, you have to be f***ing naked to do it. What kind of bullshit is that? This shit needs to be destroyed." Yolo looked stunned. Never before had he heard the words bland and naked in the same sentence. But he regained his composure and asked quite loudly, "But how?" Gargameldar looked into the distance melodramatically. A lens flare flashed by his face. "By casting it into the fires of Mount Swag."